The Lord told me that this Apollyon, this demon, is about to break loose. He's about to come out of the bottomless pit soon, and he will manipulate the kings of the world and create World War III, or what the Bible calls the Sixth Trumpet War. And so people need to know, and that's what we did. We took Revelation chapter, and actually that's the verse is Revelation 9:11, which, isn't that wild? Do you think it's an accident that these certain verses are landing in certain numbers in the Bible? I mean, God is so incredible that even when man is putting the canon together, God is putting the verses on the right numbers as a code, as a way to awaken people, so that it's a sign and we see things coming. Any moment now, Mike from around the world is going to join us tonight. It's going to be epic. What does he think about the Three Gorge Dam, the Yangtze River? Is it going to break? And if it did, what would happen? What does he think about Yellowstone blowing off some steam? Is that good? Is that bad? Is that a warning? What about Russia? They're camped. They're at both corners of America. They're down there in Cuba, and they're flying bombers up by Alaska. They're on the coast of Florida. And what does this all mean in America, in this political world we're in? Joining us right now from somewhere, some location on this planet, I think, Mike from around the world. I think you're on this planet. Is that true?
God bless you, Pastor Paul. I hope so.
Okay, just checking. There is a black budget space program. I never know if who's.
Oh, you bet. You bet.
Mike, it's good to talk to you tonight. I shared that little 4-minute segment of your webinar, of your presentation about the ant people. I just shared that on a video I did earlier today.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just that little.
That's an eye opener, isn't it?
Yeah, you just blew me away, and that's just one eye opener you dropped on us in that presentation. Anyway. We want to ask you a couple things. I had BP Earthwatch on earlier. We're concerned about the Three Gorge Dam there on the Yangtze River in China. The 11.
That's in bad shape.
Yeah. What do you know about it? And is this thing going to go? And if it did, what would that mean?
Yeah, they're preparing for it to go now. They expect it to. They really do. Well, when they made that thing, they displaced millions of people. And if it goes, it can do a whole lot more damage, because that thing has, unlike its previous state, there's a lot of water backed up in that thing. That's a lot of water, Pastor Paul. That thing is what? It's almost 8,000 feet in width, and almost 610 feet high. That's a lot of volume of water. And at lower levels, that would be what? That's 37 or 38 million cubic yards. That's a lot of water. You're talking a lot of water. And then to be suddenly released, given the China, by the way, China's land is riddled with these underground systems, right? That entire place is just riddled. And that water would, there'd be surface riding water. It covered quite a bit. But most dangerously, China also has, they have facilities close to that area. And those facilities carry some nasty things, right? You're talking chemical, biological agents, and then of course, if that thing continues, it'll sweep right through the surrounding places, eventually going into the Pacific. So that would be a devastating thing for all of us. So that can actually start if some of those chemicals reach the Pacific Ocean, for example, right?
Yeah.
Do you not realize that would contaminate the whole of the Pacific Ocean? You could have 1 part per trillion, and it would just, ruin the entire Pacific Ocean to have some of those biological developed agents in the water. right? Biological agents are so bad, Pastor Paul. They have taken certain biological agents, maybe 2 drops, right?
Okay.
They have suspended those drops they're in a vial. That vial is protected by a titanium shell. That titanium shell is stuck in some crystalline, I think it's crystalline, an aluminum matrix crystalline. And then that is put inside of a vault. The vault is sealed with some of that. It's got multiple layers on there, but they put that right down at the bottom of the ocean, right where the
Okay.
magma is. Can you imagine that? So, because if it ever gets out, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. That will effectively kill the ocean.
I
One
mean,
drop
this is
can kill the
huge.
ocean.
Well,
So
Wuhan is just down the river from this.
that's a biolab too. They have biolabs, biolabs. Not it'd be better if it were chemical weapons, but no, we're talking about biological weapons, right? So you're talking about these DNA assembled pathogens, of which there is no vaccine, no cure, no anything for, right?
Gain of
And
function.
again, half those things that they have, put together, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Once they're released, they do damage and continue mutate, and that would be devastating.
So, in other words, biological is, and of course, they use the gain of function. We've been, how we've been studying everything about the Wuhan escape.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying that when these biological germs and viruses and things got in the water, it would just flow. The water won't kill it. The ocean.
No,
salt.
the water will not kill it. The water will not. In fact, they're engineered to survive certain types of delivery, right? And keep in mind, viruses can also live in temperatures of up to 900 degrees. So what's going to kill it?
What?
Well, what's going to kill a virus? A virus, all it needs is a host. Viruses can lie dormant for thousands of years. So they just need a host. But these man-made viruses are, they should. That's the worst thing in the world that we have, next to some of the newer weapons. But biological agents are devastating. They're in bugs, right?
Really?
They're in all sorts of things. And once they get inside of a human body, they mutate and begin to replicate quite quickly. Before you know it, everybody's infected, and that's the end of that.
So this is a serious deal with this. I mean,
Yes,
we already
it is.
know it's
Yes,
serious.
it is.
But it's even more serious than 40 million or 200 million people that will be in the path of this tsunami.
Yeah.
It's the biological germs.
The trash. Yeah, stuff that it can, because China's riddled with not only these crevices in the land, but they have these laboratories all throughout China where they do development, and then when the development fails, they simply abandon the city. Right? They have certain cities over there, Pastor Paul, with them. They're fake cities. So you'll see them. They look like real cities, but you put your hand inside the pipes. There is rice cake with paper mache on the outside, something like that. So
they're fake cities?
These are cities. Yeah, they put the fake cities up to hide certain things they're doing from satellite. Right? Nobody ever goes near those cities. None of their people. They keep them out, but they have to hide things by satellite because people are always looking, right?
Wow.
They also have some unknowns there. So, yeah, that would be bad all the way around. Plus, that water weight, right, to have that water weight to suddenly shift, that just wouldn't be good.
Would that tilt the earth?
China exploded something in their country, right, underneath the ground, and it shook the world.
Mm-hmm.
So China was testing explosives. Do you not know that when they set off certain underground explosives, they registered in Alaska all the way up to New York City? They also registered in Russia, of course, all over the world, which means they're at a point of the earth that's very soft that causes all the other plates to start shifting and doing everything. So a shift in that type weight being shifted so suddenly, that could be that could cause some problems. We already have weak points. We're not like we used to be. Many things have been eroded. Everything's about to go off, right?
Yep.
Strike slips all over the place. These fault lines are ready to go. They keep telling people that there are several faults in the U.S. ready to go. All of them are ready to go. So anything could trigger them,
Well,
including something like Yellowstone.
yeah,
Right?
talk
That
about
could have
talk
they could have
about that.
done
Was
that.
that good or
They
was
they
that
lie.
bad?
They lie. They
Okay.
lie too much. They lie so bad. Right?
Okay.
Think about it. Think about it. Only those who really they can make up all these stories because the average person does not know how Yellowstone works. Right? I heard them specifically say, "Oh, don't worry, everybody. It has nothing to do with magma." Really? So what heated the water up then?
That's what I
Right?
wonder.
If it has nothing to do with magma, what suddenly heated that water? The pressure release is okay, but here's the problem. Um, they know that the depth, some of the echoes that come back from that place is pretty broad, right?
Yeah.
That actually scared some folks out there. It scared some folks. Not the first time that happened. It's not the first time, but you don't expect certain types of rock to be thrust up, right, in those explosions
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
there was rocks.
And in this case,
Yeah.
that's right. You had material that's found at certain depths being ejected, and that's what was not so good. So that just demonstrates that magma, the Earth itself, period, has gone up in temperature internally, right?
Okay.
And magma increased by 1 degree can make the difference in a dormant volcano or totally active volcano. 1 degree can do that. So magma is quite active. It will continue to be active. And, they already know that the sun is changing quickly. I mean, it's changing. Without this solar maximum, the sun was still changing. The chemistry on the sun is changing. So everything, all these things we normally see about the sun will likely triple, right? We'll probably have, instead of 2 points on the butterfly chart of the minimum maximum scale, we'll probably have 3 specific points this time, right? On our maximum chart. And the sun is just getting started. It's just now going to the uptrend to the highest peak, right? The highest peak meaning we're going to see much larger discharges, bigger than X14. So
Bigger,
we'll see, some big ones there. And that was a blessing. It was away from us.
right.
But it's not going to be that way for long, right? We know that side of the sun or these points on the sun are coming towards us.
Yeah.
So it won't be that way for long.
And so the sun is becoming more and more volatile, and Planet X, I guess, this binary system, whatever we can call it, is putting a lot of pressure on the sun, and that's putting a lot of pressure on the Earth and all the planets, right? I mean, we're all being affected.
Yeah. It is so bad that a lot of your rich and famous people, right?
Yep.
They're trying to, I guess they have maybe they're struck by conscience or something, but they're trying to get a word out to everybody. So they're saying little things like the rapids are coming, right? That the apocalyptic times are here, that people better get a plan for your loved ones quick, right?
Right.
That's what they're saying, things like this. And you have to ask yourself, could this be due to the mandate of most of your important people in the USA and around the world to have their walls? Many people have these underground places, right?
Right. Bunkers.
What they don't have with these underground bunkers are these. There's a special type wall, right, that has a rib on the inside, and they're made to keep things on the inside pretty strong. But that also fortifies it from outside, interference and things like that. Well, when you're looking for large land shifts or explosives, right? Suppose we were hit by some buster bunker bombs or something like that. Well, if you don't have that wall, your shelter's not going to do you any good. Your bunker is going to be, that's going to be tore up. But if you have these, let's call them underground break walls, right?
Okay.
Then you stand a better chance. Now, the mandate was for all these rich folks have a mandate to have all that ready by winter of 2024.
Winter of 2024. In other words, they're preparing them to got to get it all done.
They're giving hints.
Yeah.
They're giving hints, desperate hints, I mean, desperate hints. You hear these hints all the time from these folks now. So,
What?
they're putting it out there. Now, I suspect people are going to hear it more and more and more and more. That's why you see an attitude change in a lot of these famous people.
Yeah.
I mean, an attitude, like all of a sudden they care about everybody again, right? Even at their own expense in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Well, and I guess when you say ribbed walls, I mean reinforcement of something that we don't normally
But they're
use.
curved. They're curved. They're curved to the inside.
What are they
the
made
top
of?
is curved
Steel?
to the inside. No, that's a combination of steel beams, right?
Okay.
Or spars, steel spars and beams, which would be the rebar, the whole package, plus reinforced concrete and concrete. Yeah. So that way it can hold pressure, and they have to be rounded. It's not just one straight wall.
Okay.
These are rounded walls, right? For maximum dissipation of pressure that would come into it. But they have a few mandates to get ready before. This is 2024. 2024.
Yeah.
And you know what? Knowing about this last year, right? I didn't really say anything, but now that already a few things have taken place that are lining up nicely. And so, they're getting their message out. People will hear that more and more. They will begin to urge people to make sure they can protect and sustain their families.
Yeah. Well, they know that. And so we're seeing these typhoons. This is a weird. This typhoon hit Taiwan 3 times. It hit it, out, hit it, backed out, and hit it a third time before going on to China. And we had this frigid temperature that killed all these crops down in South Africa, which was strange. And then we had the hottest day. I was going to ask you, Mike, Sunday was the hottest day in recorded history. And then Tuesday broke that day. I'm talking about the total temperature of the earth. Is this part of the magma rising and the sun beating down? It's a combination?
Well, that the effects that we feel on the earth are primarily due to the sun.
Okay.
Primarily. All the planets are in relation to each other, right? Are having these problems, same problems. They're having to readjust power ratios on Mars for certain vehicles they have on Mars for recharging and discharging, so they don't mess up the power cells. Satellites, the same thing. Same thing. Now you have scientists who are getting together urging the Air Force to do something about a special array of nuclear weapons that sit across the flatlands of the USA. They don't want them in the USA. They're trying to give a warning. These things should not be in the USA. That puts us at risk without an enemy, right? Special arrangement. Let's call them large nuclear weapons that we have all across the country, right?
Yeah.
And they're in special places in the ground. Well, guess what? The scientists, they are in agreement. If no war ever comes, we're going to do ourselves in. The earth is changing too rapidly, and they don't think that they're going to withstand what's coming next, right? We're talking about this is just this year. In fact, wasn't that July 9th, I believe, they had an emergency session at the UN, right? And some other places where they were talking about this very thing. So, yeah, we have a lot going on, some problems, right? Plus, we have that nuclear waste issue here in the USA.
Okay, tell us about that.
We didn't deal with that, right? All that nuclear waste that we've accumulated is still here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what happens if we have a slight earthquake in the wrong place?
Oh, no.
It's going to cause those, the little sections that these things are in to breach. And then people in a 1,000-mile radius can be contaminated, right? So that's a big problem.
1,000-mile radius?
You're talking about that waste has a 500-year half-life. So it's going to stay radioactive for long. We're looking at a lot of Chernobyls right here in the USA. Right.
Okay.
Right here in the USA.
A lot of
and they haven't done anything with it yet. Yeah. The public has forgotten about it, but we have nuclear waste mountains in the USA, and we haven't done anything about it. So, I mean, really, we have spacecraft. Just fly them into the sun or something. Don't leave them right here on Earth.
Oh, that's a
But
great idea.
yeah, we got that. We have that problem though, and we're not doing anything about it. You can't exactly dispose of it, you know.
So you're
not
saying maybe
naturally
we
anyway.
should just we should put them into spacecraft and just keep firing them up toward the sun.
I would. I most certainly would. I'd fire a lot into the sun. I wouldn't have them here on the Earth.
Right.
That's an accident waiting to happen, right?
Yeah.
In peacetime, right? In peacetime, we could have that problem. That's a big problem. So we have, those issues to face. I doubt if anybody will do anything about it.
No.
Unless they, somebody
Look, we got raw
kicks
sewage.
them or something.
We got raw sewage in Los Angeles flowing into Venice Beach and all that. I mean, we got pipes breaking in every major city. Our infrastructures, our bridges are cracking. This stuff's going on, and our money's not being used. The tax dollars is not being used to build up and to prepare and to to strengthen our infrastructure. It's just we just wait till stuff breaks, and then we put cardboard and duct tape and hope it'll be all right.
I'm beginning to believe that they simply, some things, when you have bigger troubles, right? If you're in a house and you got a broken pipe,
Yeah.
right? It's, but the pipe broke, water's leaking, it's dripping all over the place. But then all of a sudden, the back of your house explodes. You're not going to be thinking about the leaking pipe.
No.
And so when you have a bigger problem, right, you tend to abandon or neglect these smaller things. And when it comes to infrastructure, whatever people cannot see immediately, they're not going to spend money on, right? They have sewage problems all up and down the East Coast right now. As of what? This is month number two. So this sewage issue is starting to spread all over the place, right? Some of the sewage treatment plants that were built, they're too old. The piping, some of that deep in-ground piping is worn out. The materials are worn out because the contractor, which they got this stuff from, used certain impurities in making the pipe structures themselves, and it's rusting out, right?
Yeah.
Gas companies, you find them all over the place. They're trying desperately to replace all these gas lines, right? Gas detectors are going off all over the place. It's getting pretty bad.
They're blowing.
The
Is that why
heat-
these houses blow up? These apartment complex, some of the older structures.
Yeah. Like if a small fire starts or
Yeah.
a small flame and poof. Yeah, because it smells like eggs, of course, right? But you've just this week there was a structure that blew up because of gas.
Yeah.
In fact, it caught on fire. They put the fire out, and it was just smoldering. And I believe that 4 firefighters were inside the home when it blew up. That was just, it's things
terrible.
like that are happening all over the place. But our infrastructure is old. It's very old.
Well, and look at the airports. There was 2 things. About 2 weeks ago, we had pipes breaking somewhere, and this green looked like antifreeze stuff filled one whole terminal. People were walking in it. And then yesterday, or no, this morning, I think it was, at the JFK airport, there was a fire broke out, and 9 people got hurt. I still don't know. How does a fire break out in an airport, in a terminal?
Someone. There are, unfortunately, we're under a pretty severe terror threat, Pastor Paul.
Okay.
And there are going to be people doing various things. I'll give you an example. My attention is drawn towards movie theaters this weekend. You have these new releases from Hollywood. You have these special adapted theaters now. They have a new technology in the theaters. For example, with this Twister film.
Yeah.
And the seats move and all that good stuff, right? Well, they already know there are terror threats against shooters. Want to go in there and shoot people up, right? So talking about a nationwide problem here. And since the attempted assassination of Trump, it seems like more and more of these same people operating by the same spirit are coming out the woodwork.
Copycat.
They will replicate. They will you know what I believe it is? I don't even think it's a copycat. I think it's a spirit going around, a murderous spirit, either by words or for real. And it's just going around, it's wreaking havoc on anything it can. I honestly believe that it's hopping from place to place, and it seems like wherever it goes, it leaves confusion, the same type confusion, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I'm hopeful, prayerful that folks can identify it and not allow themselves to complement it. But we have these people all over the place.
How do you feel about the Secret Service director after one day?
First day, the first day,
yeah,
she should have been fired.
Yes.
Right? She should have resigned the very first day.
Yeah.
The very first day. DEI hires that come on the scene and do things like, they had no business doing that. She wasn't qualified. She wasn't high enough. She didn't weigh enough. And did anybody see the camera where she cowered down beside she was hiding behind Trump at one point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That can't be. You got to be ready to lay your life on the. You got to believe in your own cause to serve that purpose.
Amen.
And she did not. She did not. But she finally did the right thing. She was. She seemed to be stubborn. Right.
What about?
But I do fear.
Okay, go ahead.
That's in our White House right now. I think our White House has been government council for some time now. I do believe that.
In other words,
and I believe
you're
that.
saying as they've been running the country, and that Harris isn't right now either. There's been
I think the council has been.
Council's been really off-site, maybe, or maybe they're even in the White House, managing the whole country. I
think they have been. I really do. I think they have been, because what's been happening is absolutely nothing. Nothing at all.
You're right.
Nothing.
You're right.
Nothing. It's like a stall. Everything has been stalled, and only basic things for sustainment of certain operations have gone out. But by and large, nothing has happened. Think about it. Nothing has happened. I looked at everything that they passed, and nothing has happened. And those things that have passed won't take effect till about 15 years. Right?
Yeah.
So what in the world? We've been stalled this entire time. In the meanwhile, we've had a buildup of anti-American citizens. That's spreading like wildfire.
Yes.
Right? So we have citizens of America that hate America. And these folks, Pastor Paul, who, can I just say this about I don't really want to get into this Hamas-Israel thing, right? But let me say this. So Hamas goes into Israel, snatches up people, right? Kills some, tortures others. They take children and adults alike. And then everybody says, well, Mr. Bibi Netanyahu, you've got to cease fire right now. Well, let me tell you something. If the day comes when he ceases fire, when he stops his pursuit of Hamas, they're going to do it again, and it's going to be worse because this time it'll come from Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and that Iranian soldier elite directly, and some Syrian troops, right? Possibly backed by some Russian influences, right? And Turkey is going to take the lead in quite a few things. If Benjamin Netanyahu is not there, Israel will be invaded and Jerusalem will be taken. It will be taken. And I suspect they're going to boot him out. I hate to say it, they're going to boot him out. He's left the country. And right now they're conspiring. Right now there are arguments taking place.
So you're saying they're going to boot him out?
Taking place. Yes, there are fights taking place internally in Israel right now. They're going to, that reign is going to be over. And then people will see what happens when you allow evil to fester, because you can't identify who is who with Hamas. It disappears into everybody, right? Now, I agree. It's some pretty bad things happening over there. It's been dragged out too long. The problem is, in a situation like this, you cannot properly identify the enemy. And that enemy, they're ready to regroup and go back. If they drop their offensive tactics, it's over. Watch. You'll see it. They'll go back in there and do it.
I agree. And I heard in his speech, he was strong in his speech. I thought it was so disrespectful that the president wasn't there. I mean, the vice president's supposed to be there, setting up there. 40 members of Congress boycotted. You got the one congresswoman from Michigan, Rashid Tlaib, holding a little sign, war criminal. You have 5,000 people tearing Washington, D.C. apart, burning the flag and desecrating monuments. You got all this media stuff just fueling the flame. And because one man is trying to protect one nation, Bibi is doing what he has to do. And you're exactly right. As soon as he lets up, or as soon as they remove him, or they the offensive, they're going to regroup and come back. And Hezbollah's they're still firing rockets right now. I mean, today they're still firing them right now. The war's raging.
Somehow they found a way to get beyond the Iron Dome. That's your trouble.
That's what I'm worried about. How'd the Houthis get some kind of drone in and hit Tel Aviv and kill a guy?
Because largely, Pastor Paul, the populace understands the technical level of these other countries through interpreters like the news, right? And what they say and what's actually happening on the ground are two different stories. That's true. Just like Iran, right? Iran is, people look at Iran like they're no threat. Iran's one of the biggest. Well, people they're going to have to live and learn, because you have more and more people that are going against Benjamin Netanyahu. You have more of these anti-Semitic folks they're just totally, they don't want Bibi Netanyahu. They don't want him in leadership. Now, they have recognized this in Israel, which is why, they're going to get rid of him.
Yeah, he don't have a friend in America right now either. I mean, tomorrow he's going to
get rid of him.
He's going to be down here in Florida, over in Mar-a-Lago, meeting with probably the only friend he's got, and that guy isn't in the White House yet. And he had a bullet hit his ear. I mean, this is not good what's going on.
But he understands you can't drag this out, because Hamas will always use human shields. Even Trump said it's taking too long. He's got to do what he's got to do in a hurry. But in Kamala, she has to placate to the populace to keep them satisfied. That's a strategy. I doubt if it's what these people believe, right? The truth be told, some of these people don't even like Israel, period.
Right.
They don't like Benjamin Netanyahu. It's just an international fill-in. They do this just to placate, whatever thing they're behind. They're getting paid for this,
Yeah.
But Benjamin Netanyahu is not going to be there. He's not.
Yeah.
And right after that, you're going to see a Confederate go into Israel.
Well, you've just explained, just a moment ago, you walked down all those countries. You just explained Ezekiel 38. When you threw Turkey in and Iran and then maybe Russia, it's Ezekiel 38. And you're saying it's coming. As soon as Bibi's removed, they're going to come in.
Yeah.
It might take them a year to regroup. I don't know, but
I don't think so, Pat. That's the scary part, right?
Wow.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I know for a fact Hamas they have kept their soldiers intact, right? Here's why. If you kill 1,000 Hamas individuals, right, 2,000 will come from Iran to fill their shoes. They also have Chinese operatives in Iran right now. So just because you see a uniform that's Iranian does not mean they're from Iran.
I see.
Right? You have all countries fighting in the Middle East right now. And they're in different uniforms. You have China has a large presence in the Middle East right now, right?
Yeah.
They just mix up uniforms. And in Africa, you have these African troops also fighting against Ukrainian folks.
Yeah, there is a bunch of African. They're bringing them in out of Africa, and they're fighting for Russia.
The whole thing has changed. The whole thing is really biblical. It really is, and they're going to get rid of Bibi Netanyahu, which is the last line of defense. And I hope that everybody when they see it, Christians here will understand that those who really believe in Christ, they are the last line of defense in this nation.
Yes. We are the last line of defense in America. Bibi's the last guy left in Israel. They will remove him, as you said. And then, here we go. You can't stop prophecy. We can't stop prophecy. We just keep fighting. The Bible tells us to fight, to watch and pray and fight, constantly work while it's day, because night cometh, no man can work. We're in a battle. We know that Armageddon's coming. We can't stop that coming. That's the finality of finally just God says, I've had enough. Sends Jesus there with tens of thousands of white horsemen that come to knock out the devil and the beast, false prophet. This world has to eventually get there. We can't stop wars, because the Bible says we're wars and rumors of wars. There's no way of stopping this. It's a holy war now, isn't it? And there's no borders.
It is. No. And when it says in the Bible, when it says there will be wars and rumors of wars, right?
Yeah.
And the Lord named quite. He said, "Nation will fight against nation, kingdom against kingdom."
Right.
And he told us these things must be. But you know what? He said that 2,000 plus years ago.
Yes, he did.
And nation has been against nation, kingdom against kingdom. We've had World War One and World War Two, in which case people died.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We're at the precipice of another war that's about to begin. And when it says when Jesus told them, right, don't be troubled because the end is not yet.
Right.
That was 2,000 plus years ago for them. But
Yep.
in today's world, we live in the last hours. We live in the time where we are focused on prophecy. We know prophecy. We shouldn't do anything out of fear.
No.
But let's make no mistake. We live in some days where man has devastating strength against one another. And the time for, this wartime cycle that we seem to get ourselves in is back again. I know of some inevitable things that will likely take place in less than about 5 days. That's going to cause some bigger stinks to take place.
What?
It's what the populace does not know, that they can't include. There are certain things because they don't have knowledge of, right?
Right. There's no way to know.
They can't see them, right? They won't add that into their equation. Well, I can tell you right now, there are massive instabilities that are happening in this world that there's essentially a blackout in certain news categories right now. They're not going to report anything about these categories. They're just not going to do it. So in less than about 5 days, well, we're going to see some changes. And again, they're going to do something with Bibi Netanyahu, and it's not going to be kind. It's not going to be kind at all. See, in the Middle East, when when they speak and a person does not move by the word, believe me, there are thousands right now that will take up the assassin's role.
Right. They'll
And
go
I hate
into
to say
action.
that, but that's the way it is. They will take up the assassin's role. That's how hot this matter is right now. And it will eventually, that outcome is going to be settled fairly quickly. And then it's so sad to say, when people see it, it's going to be over. And the UK, Pastor Paul,
Yeah.
if they don't make a sweeping move to clean out their nation, I fear they only have months left before they get into some real controversial thing.
How do you feel about
Because,
besides? Don't stop your train of thought. I'm sorry about that, but then go from UK to the Olympics in Paris. But start with UK.
Well, the Olympics is the problem, right? It's going to draw attention. It is a target. That's a big target of the free world, right? Think about this. We have a war right now between the West and everybody else, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So the Olympics is representative of the free world, right? Not the other people, but the free world. You don't think they're going to take full advantage of that? And given the fact that they have been oppressing, I'm going to say oppressing the Islamic world, period, through many different operations, from MI5 to Germany to the U.S.'s actions, right? Yeah, the pressure cooker's about to blow its top.
Go back to the UK if they don't clean things out. Talk about that.
Well, they have too many areas that they're not paying attention to. For one, they have nuclear facilities, right?
Yes.
They don't have proper security on those nuclear facilities. They've allowed some of the mechanisms in the nuclear facility to lapse so much they don't care who comes around it. Now, that could cost them a meltdown. They're too small to have a meltdown, right? As a very dense place. They have to start thinking about everybody in that place. They have a large influx of folks that came from the Middle East who are loyal only to the Middle East. They live right there, and they're ostracized. In the UK, they're looked down upon. Well, these people who have been largely looked down upon of many different types all over the world are starting to rise up. This rebellious thing within people. It's kind of like the USA, right? The USA has we don't interact with the government like we used to about 10 years ago. People are very, they speak their mind. They're starting to act behind their emotional subset that they have against governmental figures if they don't agree with something. the ultimate thing. There's more chatter today about the assassination thing.
Yeah.
So there will likely be more attempts. There are going to be more attempts.
Yeah.
But also in the UK, they're going to take full advantage of a loss of attention to some of these facilities, right? There are memos that they put up personnel to guard these places, right? To retrofit certain things. And so, Pastor, you know what it's going to cause. You already know what that's going to cause. They're going to take full advantage of any weakness they can get a hold of. And then I believe it was early this morning, or could have been last night, there are communications circulating within the Middle East, and it's a call to arms. Right? Now, you know how they have the jihad letters and stuff that goes around, right?
Right.
Normally, you do not have state that issue these memos.
No.
You have these subsidiary folks, not heads of state. In this case, we have heads of state issuing these statements as highly irresponsible, right? Because that will muster too many.
Okay, but who are they wanting to? Is this about the threat toward Israel? Is that what it is?
This is a holy war. This is about a holy war, which is why Turkey is going to begin to change everything it does. From this morning forward, you'll see the changes, and now you know why. When you see those changes, you'll see why. That includes Syria. Remember, Syria and Turkey are in competition to see who's going to, do what. And so these two nations will likely, I can see them combining a bit. I can.
Okay.
I can see Turkey also trying to broker something for its own benefit. I doubt if that's going to work, but Israel's in real trouble.
Yeah.
Real trouble here, right? They have moved their pieces all around them.
Yeah.
And now that Greece is in trouble. Greece is totally in trouble, and others are starting to occupy that place, right? So
you're right. They've been run over. The migration.
The whole thing started,
and I'll start it with Obama when he started the Arab Spring in 2014.
That's what he was put there for. He's
Actually,
a stumbling block. He was a stumbling block.
Yes.
He was a stumbling block. I think these presidents are essentially spiritually related. The whole point of all these lands is for the people, right? The people. And the people are the ones that have to go through judgment, everything else. But the people are, they're choosing what they're serving. With everything they do, they're choosing what they're serving, whether that be darkness or light, they're choosing it. And a lot of people right now are not choosing the Father. They're still choosing mankind. And that's a big mistake.
Yeah.
Huge mistake. But that's their choice. They're going to be stuck with what they get. Hopefully, God's children can continue to see, and their glasses don't fog up in this one, because we're in some pretty hectic times here. Too many things are ready to just explode.
Okay,
right?
now you talked about Syria. Actually, today, President Assad of Syria is with Putin today in the Kremlin. First time he's come out of his hiding in 10, 12 years. So there you go. And then Turkey, as you said, and that might be part of this coordination between Russia, Iran, Turkey, Syria, and then you got the proxy that all work for them, and then if anybody else like China, I mean, why is China hanging around with? Why is Russian and Chinese bombers flying around by the edge of Alaska?
Because they have. Remember, I told you that Iran is Russia and Russia is Iran.
Yes, I do. Yes.
China has interlocked their technology with Russia's technology, which is interlocked with Iran technology, which means their command and control can swap between three countries. And I believe that North Korea is going to be either they're put in the loop or they will be added into that loop. Now, that's extremely dangerous. And what that means is, it's kind of like when we had UN commanders that we had training with our troops back in 2009, 10, 11, and 12. They're doing the same thing. Chinese commanders are in the Middle East right now. You have Middle Eastern commanders in China right now, right? And they're all training in this international type deal, right? To communicate, they have these
Yeah.
instant translators, all this technology where they can actually speak to each other in one language. That's pretty neat, but they're all doing it.
And here in the other language, so they can just talk right to each other,
Yeah.
and you'll hear.
They can hear everybody's language, and when they talk to each other, it's an instant translation. So there's no real drop. Plus, they have their defense net has been spread all across the entire world. Now, part of it's pretty high, which is why Russia has 2 satellite launches that they're going to launch, and guaranteed nobody's going to stop them. But they have 2 satellite launches. They're going to finish this defense net. The early warning net that they set down in the Middle East pushed ours back by 1,700 miles. I'm sorry, 1,700 miles. So, yeah, the paradigm is shifting. China is 2 entities. One is a broke entity. One is a very rich and powerful entity, right? They hide the rich and powerful entity, and they present part of themselves to the world. But the other part is spread out and doing things that is very difficult to comprehend. It's just very difficult. Again, why do they have shields on their aircraft? And when I say shields, I mean electronic shields.
You mean
nobody else has shields
to protect themselves from being hacked or
from being hit
by like laser?
You can't hit them by laser, by missile,
okay,
by kinetic energy weapons. A shield. Who have you ever heard? Nobody else has that.
Nobody has that. I don't know. I know.
Nobody.
First time I've ever heard of it. Yeah.
Okay. They have quite a few things they haven't shared. Now, keep in mind, they fired a hypersonic projectile around the world, flew around the world 3 times, and it launched hypersonic projectiles perfectly. And the U.S. witnessed this, and nobody else had that type hypersonic capability. China did this. China did
wow.
that. And China did that about, 3 years back.
So they can fire a hypersonic missile.
They're doing things that
goes
are
around
troubling.
the Earth 3 times, and then that missile releases more
hypersonic projectiles that go in multiple different directions.
Yes. That can hit targets wherever they want them to hit.
Yes.
And we don't have any defense against this, do we?
You can't defend against hypersonic unless you have lasers, right? It's very important that the USA and Israel finish their laser program. That is the intercept for hypersonics.
So when Trump talks about this Iron Dome over America.
Yes. He knows. He knows because there's no defense against hypersonic projectiles, right? You have to use lasers. And we have the systems. We don't have enough systems. We just don't have enough
if he gets in office, he's going to put the money into...
He's going to redirect. That's right. He's going to redirect all these wasted funds on certain programs into that. Because if we don't have that, we probably will not last for 2 years.
We're sitting ducks.
We have to have that the Patriot system. It's just not enough anymore.
No.
It's just not enough.
So he's going to create a state-of-the-art Iron Dome system across covers the entire nation with some kind of Star Wars type laser technology that can shoot down hypersonic missiles.
It's what the Navy has right now, and what they mounted on the side of the Abrams tanks and the soldiers on the ground. And by the way, the lasers are white lasers, so colors do not reflect. It doesn't matter what color something is. It doesn't. Where people are getting this blue from. Blue works on diode lasers. I know what they saw from the sky, but those are targeting lasers, which do not burn anything, right?
Okay.
They're like those green ones people light in the air. People were seeing. The actual laser didn't care what color something is. You can send that through all spectrums of colors. It's going through all of it. All of it.
Because it's white. Because it's a white laser.
Yeah, it's white to clear, so it's everything and nothing all at the same time.
Yeah.
And you cannot see it. You can't see it. It just has effects. It's instant, and there you are.
Wow.
Blue does not protect anything. Orange won't protect anything. It won't do that. That's people saw the targeting system of something, right?
I see.
Or a rangefinder. They have rangefinders up there too, which are thick beams, not thin ones, thick ones. Those don't actually fire anything, but the real lasers, they can hit. You wouldn't even know it was a laser.
It's over. You don't even see.
Right.
You can't see it coming.
No,
No, and no protection against it.
No.
Yeah.
It goes through. It's not a chemical laser. It's not a CO2 laser. It's not a diode laser. These are different type lasers. They are sound based too, and there's no sound in space, and these lasers are in space. So how about that? So yeah, they're dangerous. They're very accurate, right? But we need more. We don't have near enough for
so
for what's in the world right now.
And as all this is going on, we have to continue as Christians. We have to put our faith in the Lord. We have to say, look, we're in the world, but we're not of the world. We have to make sure we're always ready. We've given our life to Christ. We got to put on the whole armor of God, which is our protection, and then we trust the Lord with our soul, with our life, and then you don't have. There's no need to be worried about anything else. I mean, yeah, you can't help but be concerned about your nation and what have you. And we should do everything we can in our power while we're here to defend ourselves. But at the end of the day, our faith has to be in Jesus Christ. There's none other. There's no one else.
That's right.
And
That's right.
So when it says the beast, let's go to Revelation a minute. When it says the beast is like none other, it says, they'll say, who can make war with the beast? Who is like him? Is this because of superior military technology advantage over everyone else? Is this why it says that?
That is like that. What you just said, that phrase, when they say who is likened to the beast, who can make war with him. Read that and think of this. Try to envision a bunch of people, right?
Yep.
Proud. They're proud.
Oh, you're right.
There's national pride for something. They're yelling it out. Who is like the beast? Because every patriot will do that for his or her country. It's like they're proud. They're so proud of the beast, but they're bragging on the beast.
Right.
So these are people who are totally sold out to the. By the way, I don't think those people would ever. They're not going to call it the beast. It's going to be their respective nation. Those are patriots. Those are patriots. Just like Russia has patriots, China has patriots, USA has.
But these are going to be patriots of darkness. These are patriots of darkness. Of a
kingdom that the world thinks is a kingdom of light.
But it's darkness.
That's right. Absolute darkness. And like in the book of Daniel, it gives us a hint: through peace he shall destroy many.
Yes.
And those that eat of a portion of his meat shall destroy him. So those that partake of his nonsense will end up destroying him in the end. Getting back at him in the end. But you're looking at something that will sweep this earth through peace. No wonder the Bible says when they say peace and safety, because when the world says peace and safety, then the world has accomplished what it needed to accomplish. In other words, they won. That's what that is. When they say peace and safety, they're okay, fellas, our plan is going to work. Right? So and then poof, everything goes up in front of their faces.
Yep.
But we're getting close to that time.
Yeah, it's in Daniel. You're right. It's in Daniel where it says that, he'll destroy many through peace. He will also win many over with flattery.
He will. And you know what? I know a lot of people, they look for someone who can make peace everywhere. Whoever causes peace in this world, I'm backing away from. This is not the time I'm backing away from it. Because if a person can make peace in a world where half the world is worshiping Buddha, the other half Lord Krishna, the other half Allah, and the other half this, and that's compromise.
Yeah, there's no other way around
they're
it.
Essentially in a dark world.
Right.
And they've lifted up every deity. But no.
No, there's no.
See, the problem. That's the one problem I have. But that's a problem. Big problem I have with the Democrats. Not to be political, but I have that problem of this because that's a Babylonian thing. To worship
have
multiple
all these gods, multiple
right,
gods,
and to have respect for them.
And here's the thing,
because
here's the thing, Mike. They worship all these gods, but the true and living God. They don't worship him because
they're angry when they talk about Christ. They don't want to talk about Christ. They get angry.
Yeah.
If a Christian comes in their presence,
they hate him.
Right? And instead of lifting up the name of the Lord, they get angry and say, "No, make space for this God over here, the God of lasagna." Right?
Yeah.
All these different.
It's the Babylon. It's the spirit of Babylon. It's the mystery Babylon that people always want to tag America with it, when really reality, the mystery Babylon is the idol worship of all these gods outside of the true and living God. Yeah.
It's pretty big.
It's big.
But it's a mystery. You can't see it.
No.
Probably because everybody accepts it.
It's a spirit.
Yeah.
You know.
Everybody. It's a sad thing, Pastor Paul, but we live in that time. I'm going to say, let me add one more thing, Pastor Paul, about fear. Here's about worry and about fear.
All right.
From the couple of months I've been alive on this earth, right? Just a couple of months, I've accumulated a small piece of wisdom. If you have no power to change something, it's not yours to change in that moment, and you can't worry about it. It doesn't belong to you, right? Remember the Lord said, cast your cares upon him.
Right.
Right, our burdens and things cast. Well, if we have no power to change it, why would a person minimize themselves or have themselves isolated by worrying about it?
You can't.
Because they have no power to change it. It's not theirs to change. If we are to change something, God will give us power to do so.
Right. You're right.
So if it's not ours, we can't worry about it.
Can't live in fear and faith at the same time. You have
That's
one
right.
or the other. You know, Dr. Summerall used to say that you feed your faith and starve your doubts to death. He said, you know, there's not enough room in your heart really for fear and faith. You got to choose how do you want to live? You want to live in the victory, or do you want to walk around in the fear and defeat? Because fear will paralyze you. The Bible says fear is a torment.
Oh, yes.
You know, I fear the Lord because that means I respect the Lord.
It is.
But if I live in fear of, you know, the roof's going to cave in, and, you know, the hurricane's coming to Florida, or, you know, the government's going to collapse, or the dollar's going to go down. Or, you know, no, I don't live like that, because you can't. Then you're living by the mammon. You're serving mammon instead of serving God, right?
That's right. I used to have a lot. I went to a range one time in my early days, Pastor Paul, and I was so scared of that 50 caliber. I'd never fired a weapon, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm firing a 50 caliber Madus. That's what they call it, M2, right?
Yeah.
And I was so scared I couldn't pull the trigger. Fear can just, you know, it can freeze you. You can't do anything when you're overcome with fear. But fear speaks lies and imaginations that never come about, right? The one thing that helped me get over fear the most was, if a person can have a higher mission than themselves, in other words, instead of doing anything for yourself, do it for everybody else. Now, I can assure anybody of this: when you're doing something for your children or for your spouse that you love, nothing on earth can stop you from accomplishing whatever you set out to do for those you love. So doing things in love, fear can't even come in. It's kaput. It's gone.
Amen.
Because you're not doing it for yourself, doing it for somebody else. That's a higher cause than oneself. I can only do so much for myself, and then that's it. But I can do everything for somebody else.
Amen.
So if people base their doings in love, they would find a whole different world of strength. They really would.
Mike, this is pretty amazing tonight. We really got into a lot of subjects tonight that are really, really important. And so what do you think we'll be talking about? I mean, it seems like from week to week, there's like these mammoth things happening, big shifts.
I know.
What
I know last week I said volcanoes, right? So
right. Well, you got Yellowstone. How about this? You got Yellowstone, and Mount Etna did explode, by the way.
Yeah, it did. It's still going. It's that's growing. That's a sad situation.
Yeah.
I'm praying for them big time. But Pastor Paul, I'll tell you what, these attempts, Benjamin Netanyahu may take center stage. He just may.
Next 5 days. So by this time next week, we may be talking about Israel or Bibi or the whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm praying for that guy, though, because
they put a target.
I've never witnessed such hatred. I mean, it's a visceral hatred against him. He's quite bold to do what he does.
Yeah, he is. He's a very bold man, very determined, and he loves his people, or he would not.
That's why he's doing it. Yeah. Yep. He's not doing it for himself, that's for sure.
Nope.
Nobody would put themselves through that. Nobody.
No. I put him and Trump in about the same category. They are doing it for their people.
Yeah, they do.
Mike,
they most certainly do.
Well, this time we'll see what we'll be talking. Maybe that's what we'll be talking about next week. We'll see. And of course, the webinar is next Friday, so everybody should get ready for that. Mike, I appreciate you coming on. It was a great broadcast tonight. Thank you for your faithfulness and your candor and your wisdom. Really, thank you.
Pastor, it's an honor. It's always an honor. Oh, and tell BP his friends are back in Arizona. Anyway.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, he saw those guys, and he talks
they're
about
back.
that in the webinar. So they're back, huh?
Lots of people are going to be talking about similar subjects.
So tell
soon.
BP
Very
his friends
soon.
are back. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure
back.
he'll enjoy that.
Again.
All right. Mike, thank you so much.
Pastor Paul, God bless you, brother.
All right. God bless you. We'll talk later. God bless.
All right.
Bye-bye.
God bless.